digital media related. So I think it's an exciting topic for myself and excited to be part of this conversation today. Let me introduce myself. My name is Jeremy Davis, and I'm with the Ewing Marion Kaufman Foundation, a local foundation that focuses on education and entrepreneurship in Kansas City, as well as nationally, but we do a lot of work in Kansas City. So I am happy to be here and honored to be here to be the moderator for this discussion around workforce development in the digital media space. And we've got three panelists here, so I will kind of kick it over to them to do a brief introduction of themselves, and then we'll talk about some of the kind of the verticals, economic trends when it comes to media, media space. We'll talk about some programmatic things, and then also talk about some funding that supports workforce development in regards to digital media and productivity in Kansas City. So excited about it. And I will start with our panelists furthest to my right. I would say just a brief introduction of yourself, your background, how long you've been doing workforce development, and then we'll come on down, and then we'll have more time to talk about specifically kind of what we do.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are we doing?
Good.
Good. I'm Alan Boyer. I'm a program director at Kansas State University. I'm involved in the A.Q. Miller School of Media and Communications. I live in Atlanta, Georgia. I've been a remote professor for the last 2 years for Kansas State. I got my graduate degree at Kansas State University. I also teach business courses at Georgia Gwinnett College there in Georgia. And for fun, I'm a youth development basketball coach with the Atlanta Hawks. So I love what I do. I love working with young people. And what I'm going to talk to you about today, hopefully, will give you some things to think about for your career. Glad to be here.
Perfect.
All right, Alan's a great educator. You can tell by getting the crowd fired up. I'm just an economist, so I don't have that capability. Jeff Pinkerton, I work with the Missouri Department of Economic Development. I've been there about 3 years. Prior to that, I was with the Mid-America Regional Council, which is your Kansas City area council of local governments. And in those two roles, my job has really been diving into data. I swim in Excel all day long, try to understand economic trends and kind of see how Kansas City, or now working at the state level, how the state of Missouri has opportunities and threats and challenges in terms of how the economy is changing and where we fit in and what kind of jobs are growing and where we need to adjust, and working with our economic development professionals throughout the state to kind of do that. So I've been working with Gary and Ron for several years on this particular project, trying to identify this industry, which I'll talk about a little bit more in detail, how challenging that has been just to identify it. But certainly think it's one that's growing and has a lot of opportunity. I'm very happy to be here today to talk to you a bit about that.
Well, good afternoon. I'm not a professor or an economist like my friends, but my name is Bob McQueen, and I'm president of the Full Employment Council. I've been there for about 30 years. Before that, I was a director of workforce development for the state of Texas. Before that, I was the business development consultant for the Texas Economic Development Commission. And so we're all on the market side, because people come to us and want to know not how can I train, but how can I go to work? So our objective is to try to work within the confines of the region and what we can do to get them certifications and result in them getting good careers.
Perfect. All right, let's see, Ron, how are we doing?
I do very well.
Okay. No, that's fine. Yep, we're rolling. Okay. So yeah, like I said, just, a great esteemed panel here, diverse backgrounds, different lenses when it comes to this particular segment of the workforce. So really excited about it today. And I know that Jeff, as you mentioned, he's an economist, keeping really a finger on the pulse of what's going on as far as job growth and industry trends, how Kansas City stacks up against other communities when it comes to the creativity and digital media space, that sort of thing. And I know he's got some information to share with us to kind of tee up and level set a little bit about that particular subject. So we're getting ready to pull it up here in just a minute. But before we do that, I just want to say, for this, even for like the facility that we're in right now and everything, just how you bring different things to life and the energy you bring into a building and programming you bring into it. a lot of that kind of sizzle and flair and everything like that. It wouldn't be possible to really bring the space to life without, I think, creators and people in digital arts to really highlight what's going on and tell the story even how this building was transformed. So it plays a really big role and does a lot for Kansas City, I think, for culture and everything like that as well. So we should be up here in just a minute. But if you have maybe a couple things you want to bring up.
Sure, I can start in, and if we get my charts and graphs, great. I usually don't talk without charts and graphs, so let's see how this goes. But I mentioned earlier that this industry that we're talking about today, digital media, is one that's difficult to define. And because there's not a digital media factory down the street, there's not a company that does digital media. There's companies that do digital media and a million other things. So, for instance, I can tell you right now how many people are work at a company that manufactures springs in the Kansas City metro area. There's 15 of them. I don't know who they are, where they work, but the data that we use looks at industry codes, and there's an industry code for spring manufacturers, and there's 15 people doing it. There's not a really good, because this industry that we're talking about today is so new and so growing and so different, we can't really identify it with an industry. So what we've decided to do is kind of look at the occupations, what types of jobs go into digital media, and where are those jobs in the Kansas City area, and how do they stack up compared to others. So we came up with a list, I think it was about 15 to 20 different occupations that were related to digital media. And we got there's about 23,000 people in the Kansas City metro area that work in one of those occupations. And by Kansas Metro, I'm talking about both sides of the state line. The metro area, about 2 million people here in the Kansas City MSA. So 23,000, that's a pretty good number. More people work in this space in places like Los Angeles and Chicago and in New York. But one thing that we kind of look at is, all right, 23,000 for a city of our size, is that good or bad? And we have this technical terminology we call location quotient. It's nothing more than what share of your workforce works in this space relative to the U.S. So I always like to say, like, 10% of my workforce is in retail nationally, 10% of the workforce is in retail. That ratio is 1. 1 is good. That's all you need to know about location quotient. 1 is good. And our location quotient in digital media is 1. So we're normal. We have the normal amount of employment in the Kansas City metro area in digital media relative to the U.S. Some places have more than 1. San Jose, San Francisco, Seattle come to mind as metro areas that have very high location quotients in digital media. If you look at the map, and if we get a chance to show you, no pressure on. If you look at the map, there is a hole in the middle of our country in terms of digital media and where those jobs are. Kansas City being a location quotient of 1 being normal is there, and most of the metro areas around us have a location quotient less than 1. So in other words, they have less employment in that sector than they should. Again, we're not really like the Los Angeles, the Silicon Valleys and Seattle's, but we're better than just about every other metro in the Midwest. And then furthermore, if you break that down and see where Kansas City has strengths in this space, and again, we have like 22 different occupations, really good in graphic design, high location quotient in graphic design, web development, public relations are included in there. And what we have less of is more the technical film side of things, like editing, film producing, things like that. Our location quotient there is very small, and very few metro areas have a large location quotient in that. So we have components. So in summary, for Kansas City, we're kind of about where we should be in terms of employment in this sector, but we have some real key strengths that I think we can build on. And when I go and I talk to different communities about, okay, this is your economy, this is what your economy is based on, I always emphasize that that's where you are right now. And it has nothing to do about the future. And if you make an invested effort to build an industry, to build a cluster in your community, you can do it. I mean, we're talking about, if we have the Thank You Walt Disney building as an anchor to bring more and more attention to this region, you can see this industry grow. It's not just you know, where we are right now, and that's the way we want to stay. We can build this industry if we want to do that as a region. So I'll close my opening comments by saying we have some really good elements here. I think based on with Hallmark and a lot of advertising firms that are great here in Kansas City, the Art Institute, we have some elements to grow this. And on the technical side, I think that will follow if we can get this some momentum in this digital space, get it going, become a place that people want to be at if they're going to be in these types of jobs. So,
Thank you.
sure.
Yeah, and as you listen in, make sure to jot down a question, keep it handy. We'll have Q&A at the end. And as we go along, I'll ask a couple questions. We'll keep it conversational. So yeah, thank you for those opening remarks, Jeff. Appreciate that. And we'll just maybe bounce it over to Alan. I know that you've got some aids and stuff to kind of hand out as you talk about.
Pass. You guys know the drill. Take
Yeah.
one and pass.
But we'll kind of shift from the higher level economic data to, as Jeff was saying, you've got different segments of the industry where we have higher location quotients versus others. So when it comes to programming, that's how we build up muscle in certain areas. So Al will kind of talk about what he's got going on in case study.
Thank you. The one thing I didn't mention is that my digital journey began about 30 years ago. I have held executive management jobs at the Coca-Cola Company, First Data, Equifax. I've launched over 60 websites, done a bazillion digital advertising campaigns across for various clients that I do some consulting. And so I want to impress upon you that my skill set and what I've learned throughout the years is because I decided to be a lifelong learner. And I wanted to continue to develop my skills going forward. So I am very excited to be talking with you today about some of the things that we're doing at Kansas State University. The program guide you have in front of you is for a new digital degree program that Kansas State launched last August. Classes begin in the fall of this year, and this program is an exciting program because it actually is a fully interdisciplinary program that combines digital media, business, and computing. And when you complete this program, you will earn 4 credentials: a bachelor's degree, a certificate in computer science, a certificate in digital engagement, and a minor in entrepreneurship and innovation. Imagine that you walk out with extra credentials, having no extra classes, no extra time. This degree program can be completed in 4 years. It's 100% online or on campus, so it's your choice. You can either stay home in Kansas City, or you can go live in Manhattan. We launched this program in response to industry. The A.Q. Miller School of Media and Communications at Kansas State University was behind in actually offering digital courses. And so we decided to get to work, and we actually work with industry. We work with the KC Tech Council to give us some advice and some counsel on, okay, what is industry asking for in this area? And so we put together this program with the College of Business and the College of Engineering. So there are 17 hours of computer science courses, 15 hours of business courses, and more than 17 hours of digital media courses. Those digital media courses include social media strategy and management, Going Mobile, which is a mobile marketing course, digital brand strategy course, just to name a few. So just keep in mind that this particular digital program, it will start in the fall. We're taking applications now. And we also have an investment from the university of $205,000, of which $60,000 of that is for scholarships for students from this area. So just know that we are really all in on developing this type of program and offering it to the region. I'm excited to announce a new program. You're getting a preview of it today. Please take one and pass. I mentioned the certificate in digital engagement that's embedded in the degree program. Well, we're announcing a standalone certificate in digital engagement on Tuesday of next week. It's a 12-hour program. It includes 4 classes. The classes are 8-week classes. The classes are innovations in innovations in media and communications, social media management and strategy, digital brand strategy, and writing in the digital economy, and that's a content marketing class. And so this particular program is being offered. It begins in the fall, and we also have scholarship dollars to support that program as well. So that's my spiel. That's what we're doing at Kansas State University. We are going to be working with a variety of programs in the Kansas City area to hopefully be able to offer some funding and support for students who want to actually participate in these programs. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. And just to kind of poll the audience a little bit before we go get to Mr. McQueen here talking about resources and stuff, what kind of, just if you want to yell out or raise your hands, what kind of interest or how are you all involved generally in digital, in the digital creativity space? Is it software development? Is it production side? Anything? Or what interests you most? Just curious.
Film,
Film? Okay.
graphic design,
Okay.
Photography.
Okay.
Animation.
Perfect. Okay.
illustration, graphic design.
Okay. Great. So quite a few graphic designers and everything. I think there's a lot of programs, K-State and some other ones. I think we're pretty rich in supporting that in Kansas City and around in our region and everything like that. But of course, you know, with anything, you got to have some resources to access and be able to plug into some of these programs. So I'd like to turn it over to Clyde McQueen now, who's with President of Full Employment Council, and talk a little bit about what he does and how he interfaces with this industry.
Well, good. Well, thank you all. And I see it was about 2 years ago, a young man came into my office and he told me, I want to be a digital storyteller. And I said, what are you talking about? And so I asked my team member, Rowena Behrman was one of my team members there, and there's another one back in the back, Lisa's back in the back there. And I didn't have the foggiest idea. And lo and behold, up comes a job for a digital storyteller. And that young man is now a manager, a senior manager, and I want to catch him somewhere to ask him to buy me an ice cream cone because he's doing really, really well. And I know his mother, who happens to be a senior executive with a major telephone company. And so, you know, as you look at that, I just kind of wanted to bring the market to you. And again, this is just kind of, so like when people come to me, they don't want, training is a means to an end to enjoy a career that they like. So we just pulled some stuff. So digital media designer, hybrid remote, but just because we're talking about that, $46,000 to $55,000 a year. Entry level digital inside sales rep, Overland Park, $60,000 a year. Wow. Digital marketing analyst with insurance company, $60,000 to $70,000 a year. These are just a few. I bought all these for you, so if you want to check them out, look on Indeed, look on digital, and they are there. So there's a very huge market in our region. Also, I don't know how many of you have heard about Snap It, maybe you have not, if you look it up, Snap It and Udall, which are two Kansas City-based entities. Was it 2008? We were in Chicago at the Department of Labor meeting, and those two persons were those two persons. They had no company, they had nothing but an ambition, and right now they're one of the largest government contractors running a small amount of businesses in our region. So in a period of 10 years, this is where they are. And I don't know if many may have heard about this gentleman who just recently sold his company for $850 million. There's a PX company, and people don't believe me. Which one is it?
That's a Michael Reed.
Yeah, yes, Michael Reed is a
RX Savings.
RX Savings, you may have heard it. $850 million transaction to buy his business, which started off in the same realm. Actually, my team members work with him. So it is a huge demand, whether it's digital marketing, digital access. It pays great resources, but most importantly, it's very flexible. As he's talking about that now, which is the home, he mentioned Coca-Cola. That's the home of Coca-Cola. Right. And but the thing is, the certifications and the resources, quite frankly, many of the companies that we work with would rather hire the students, the persons themselves with the right inclination, and they will train you, provide those resources for you to get your own certificates. In fact, many of the companies look for the fit and the basic skill set, and then they in turn get resources from us to train you up in the certifications that you want. Also, as we mentioned earlier, you stack your certificates. It's not just get your driver's license, it's get your driver's license, then you get the CDL1, the CDL2, and you continue, and that makes you a much more versatile employee, enables you also to even look at the ownership space of this. Because we have seen many of the persons that we work with become owner operators of their own small businesses that are very flexible and enable them to work in their region. And I can just tell you in closing, our region is, we happen to be in the Midwest, which quite frankly, when I talk to my friends, I was born in Los Angeles. And so when I start talking about, well, the Midwest don't have no water, true that, other than the Lake of the Ozarks. Midwest don't have no beach, true that, just the sand you bring into your backyard and play with. But now we're in the Midwest, and the value add that we have is that we're in the center of the country. We have over 10 million square feet already under contract for plants and companies that are willing to already come here. They haven't even announced yet. And so understand that we are in the middle of a great opportunity. So we want to encourage as many persons to pursue, because this is a basic infrastructure of the economy. It has multiple applications across all sectors, whether they're manufacturing, information technology. It is not unique. It is very versatile, but the main thing is you have to be versatile too. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Yeah. So, and I kind of want to stay there. This is a question for all, whoever wants to jump in and answer it. But the idea of certifications and experience and different programs that that students go through in order to land that job. So, as industry professionals, what certification, what set of skills, background are you seeing that are popular in this space, and then kind of what's the best way for students to seek that sort of stuff out or plug into it from your perspective?
Well, I want to dance around this because I'll tell you what I'm hearing a lot. Certifications are great. You can get them on your resume and point to, I have this, and a lot of them are recognized as well. But more and more employers, from what I'm hearing, they'll ask an engineering firm, a guy at HR in an engineering firm, will ask, did you play with Legos as a kid? And if you played with Legos as a kid, you've got that mindset, and that's, you're not going to put I played with Legos as a kid on your resume, but that's a question they want, because it kind of gets at the type of person that you are. I think a lot of the certificates maybe come into, when I have my skill set, I know what I'm interested in doing, and I start going down a career, then I might see, for me to get from this point to that point, I need that certificate, and that's when those things start to come into play. So I don't know if I did actually look at these occupations, and what kind of certificates were popping up in the one ads, and a lot of them were just computer programs that I don't know anything about, but they're there. But I also think that they're a second step. Once you kind of identify a need, a desire to be in a certain space, the certificates can help you get that extra step. And I don't know if as an educator, if you were to.
I'm assuming you've heard of the Google Digital Garage. Is that fair? Yeah. Some of you? Okay. I'm gonna give you two certificates you can get right now. They are free. I embed them in my classes. They are industry recognized. One's from Google and one's from HubSpot. Okay, the Google Digital Garage offers a Fundamentals in Digital Marketing certificate. It's free. It's embedded in my digital brand strategy class, and you can go get that now. It's 26 modules, there's videos, and there are assessments after each module. And it is industry recognized. You can put that on your resume as soon as you download that certificate. HubSpot offers a content marketing certificate, free of charge. That's about writing for the internet, writing for the digital economy, positioning, engaging consumers online. That's another free certificate that you can go get right now that's industry recognized. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, in fact, as Louis just mentioned, we have a program by Coursera, which is an online digital thing. And just because they're free doesn't mean you aren't any good. Sometimes people say free, it ain't worth my time, but no. If you have the opportunity to acquire that, and that becomes something that you can bring to an employer, because let me tell you, what the trend is doing more than one thing at one time. So a lot of people are earning and lurking at the same time. they are going to these classes that he mentioned, and they're taking a certification to enable them to do combine both of them. Increasingly in this industry, and you've all heard about apprenticeships, and everybody thinks apprenticeships pertain solely to construction. Wrong. Apprenticeships are now across the board in almost every major sector. And one of the things that you can do is enter into that apprenticeship thing, whether you get working through an workforce organization like ours and working with a university. If you work that out with your employer, that gives you a defined career ladder. You know exactly where you're going to go when it's over. You know the design, the required certifications, and you continue to stack those, it makes you more versatile. In almost all the instances, and again, young people kind of, they kind of introduced all this to me. It was introduced to me to persons like yourselves. I'm supposed to be the expert. Wrong. They came and said, remember when you? I said, yeah. And so, and a lot of the persons that we work with have started off, and if they decide they want to work for myself, they have been very successful in that regard. And I think that that's one of the things that as we have looked at, that we want to encourage, because they really, quite frankly, the new generations have a better idea of the labor of the market, what is appealing, and what is convenient, because ease of access is very, very important now more than ever. Ease of access in terms of when y'all see how they deliver cars and trucks now, it ain't just about going into the dealership, seeing what cars are shiniest. It's looking online and see how many things of my own I can put onto the car. So I would really encourage you to explore those things. If there's opportunity to get those at a reduced rate or no rate, those are the things that can really enable you to take advantage of the market. And so we really encourage that, and especially if you have versatile courses at a university. Universities are changing up the game. It's no longer just, spring, summer, fall. It's whenever. And that's increasingly, and a lot of times those courses are taught by adjunct faculty who come from the market. And that's very, very important too. It's not just, the class that somebody had. So we would just encourage you, if you've got this interest, look at it. It's a great opportunity across the board. And even though we don't have water and sand, we do have the middle of the country. And that's an advantage that we have advantage.
Absolutely.
Congratulate Kaufman Foundation and the work it's doing in workforce development. No question about that. And Clyde McQueen, your 30 years in workforce development and training has been just amazing. And we're going to move forward and try to change some of these policies that you've mentioned, as well as workforce housing and child care. And I really want to congratulate Mr. Boyer, because you have broken the mold as it relates to certificates and badging and the need for that to happen. And I do understand that going out on a limb and doing something different and something that's really ahead of its time as it relates to the Midwest, my hat's off to you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Perfect. Well, thank y'all. I think that's kind of the end of our time here, but please join me in giving a round of applause. And I think the major takeaway here is, make those connections. Don't feel reserved to ask for more information about K-State and FEC and everything. You got us in the room, so make the connection and then run with it. So.
And we're on the internet, so just FEC.org.
Right, there you go.